drawn and redrawn, the making of India's internal boundaries.
Hi, and welcome back to India's State Stories, a project that explores the evolution of India's political and administrative boundaries. This project is supported by the Center for Legislative Education and Research, Flame University, Pune.
Integration of princely states was a complex process which resulted in the new states that were divided into 4 administrative categories, parts A, B, C, and D. This series focuses on the 3 main categories that are part A, B, and C. In the first part, we will be exploring the integration of princely states that formed the part A states. In other words, they were absorbed and merged into their respective British provinces. These range from major states like Baroda, Kolhapur to smaller and little known regions like Sandur and patchwork of states in modern day Gujarat and Orissa. The merger agreements for most of the states were modelled after Orissa and Chhattisgarh state mergers, and their administration was transferred to provincial governments. Now let's look at the stories of each of these in more detail in the following episodes. Listen to the first 3 episodes of Season 2 to understand a deeper context. These episodes give an overview of the entire process of integration, along with an introduction to the legal instruments and some key personalities which made it possible. More details are in the show notes below, and let's dive in.
Imagine this for a moment. You're tasked with building a brand new nation. Huge job, right?
Monumental.
Now picture adding hundreds of, existing entities, princely states, many ancient, each with its own ruler, history, culture. How do you even start weaving that all together?
It's mind-boggling, the complexity. Where do you begin when the map itself is still fluid?
Welcome to the deep dive. Today we're digging into a really pivotal, often complex, and maybe overlooked part of post-partition India.
That intricate process of integrating the princely states.
Exactly. Specifically into what became the United Province. And our mission here is to zoom in on 3 really distinct states, Tehri-Garhwal, Rampur, and Banaras.
3 very different stories.
Right. We want to explore how their unique histories, the challenges they faced, and the specific ways negotiations happened shaped their accession. It's kind of a shortcut to grasping the bigger picture of nation building. Okay, let's unpack this.
It's definitely a huge undertaking we're talking about, and it's crucial to get the scale. After 47, India faced integrating over 500 princely states.
Wow, over 500.
Yeah. These states had been under what was called British suzerainty. Basically, they ran their own internal affairs, but recognized the British crown as the paramount power.
Okay.
When the British left, that paramountcy just vanished. It lapsed. So it created this power vacuum.
Leaving the rulers with a big choice.
A stark choice. Join India, join Pakistan, or maybe try for independence. And this wasn't just paperwork. Each state was different. Different legacies, different people.
So no simple template.
Absolutely no one-size-fits-all solution, which is why each integration story is so unique, really a testament to how the nation was born.
And what a picture it must have been. Not a neat map, like you said, but this patchwork quilt of territory.
Exactly. Our
sources show the United Province alone had 3 major princely states, each pretty fascinating. First, there's Tehri-Garhwal.
The hill state.
A really venerable hill state, founded way back 688 AD, we think. Its ruling family claimed this incredibly ancient lineage. It covered, about 4,500 square miles?
A decent size.
And nearly 400,000 people.
Then you've got Rampur.
Right, Rampur, a key representative of the old Rohilla power. Smaller area, maybe 900 square miles, but more people, about 500,000.
And known for something specific, wasn't it?
Yes, noted for its, and I'm quoting here, enlightened administration and significant industrial progress.
Interesting contrast already.
And finally, Banaras, an ancient principality, deeply significant, but kind of surprisingly, only formally made a state by the British quite late, in 1911.
Right, relatively recent in formal terms.
Covered about 875 square miles, also with close to 400,000 people.
It's that sheer diversity that's so striking, isn't it? You go from Tehri-Garhwal's ancient mountain kingdom feel to Rampur's more modern industrial vibe, and then Banaras, steeped in culture, even if its statehood was recent. Different characters, different legacies.
Totally different.
And zooming out, that variety really underscores a key point about nation building. You can't just impose one rule. You need bespoke diplomacy, tailored approaches.
So each negotiation was critical.
Absolutely. Balancing central goals with these really strong local identities.
I'm really curious how those differences played out in the actual negotiations. Let's start with Rampur. Its story seems to show real leadership, real foresight, especially given the uncertainty.
It really does.
The sources mentioned the Nawab, Sir Syed Raza Ali Khan Bahadur. Apparently he faced, quote, considerable pressure not to accede to the Indian Union.
Which makes sense. Post-partition's significant Muslim population, there would have been anxieties.
Exactly. But he showed, again quoting, unwavering loyalty to the government of India. He was actually the first important Muslim ruler to openly accept accession.
That's quite a statement to make at that time.
And he didn't just sit back. He actively shaped the merger. He himself suggested Rampur be temporarily run as a chief commissioner's province.
So under direct central control for a bit.
Yeah, exactly. To kind of build confidence, especially among the Muslim minority, ensure a smooth handover, a really smart, proactive move.
Taking control of the narrative in a way.
Totally. And this was accepted. Plus, there's this amazing cultural gesture. Rampur had a notable Oriental library.
Ah, yes, the library.
Full of rare manuscripts and Mughal miniature paintings. He handed it over to the government of India to be managed by a trust.
Protecting heritage amidst massive political change. That's significant.
It really is. So he signed the merger agreement pretty early, May 15th, 1948, and his privy purse, that annual payment, was set at 7,000 rupees.
A substantial amount.
Then, after that 6-month central administration phase, Rampur officially merged with Uttar Pradesh on December 1st, 1949.
You know, Rampur's case really shows how proactive steps, demonstrating loyalty even when pressured, could work. It wasn't just about joining, it was about securing terms, preserving culture.
Like a strategic move.
Absolutely, strategic foresight. The Nawab seemed to understand that in that climate of suspicion, a bold gesture of trust could actually yield better outcomes for his state and his people. He wasn't just reacting, he was shaping. Quite remarkable, really.
That's a really good point. What about that pressure he faced? Where was it coming from? Other rulers, maybe? Or internal groups?
That's a key question. The pressure likely wasn't just one thing. It probably came from, well, multiple directions. Elements within his own community, perhaps, worried about their future in India. Maybe other Muslim rulers who were leaning towards Pakistan or considering independence. Possibly even some, lingering whispers from a few British officials suggesting other paths.
A complex web, then.
Definitely. And navigating that, choosing to proactively align with India and manage the transition like he did, that really highlights his political skill. And maybe a commitment to stability above all.
Okay, so that's Rampur. Now, shifting gears completely, Tehri-Garhwal. A very different picture emerges there, doesn't it? More about internal problems setting the stage.
Yes, quite different. No smooth, proactive leadership story here. Instead, in 1948, the state saw significant agitation for responsible government.
So pressure from within.
Right. People demanding more say. The ruler actually trying to respond by setting up a popular ministry.
An attempt to meet those demands.
Exactly. But the sources say it proved to be an utter failure.
Oh.
Yeah, it just didn't work out. Led to administrative instability. Things were apparently quite shaky.
A reminder that these weren't just abstract political moves. Governance on the ground was a real issue.
Absolutely. And this instability actually prompted intervention. VP Menon, who was Sardar Patel's right-hand man in integrating the states.
A key figure.
He stepped in, invited the Maharaja and his ministers to Delhi for talks.
So the central government got involved because things were falling apart locally.
Precisely. And the resolution was swift. Shortly after Rampur, May 18th, 1948, the Maharaja signed the merger agreement. The administration was then taken over by the United Provinces government.
And the privy purse?
Set lower than Rampur's, 3,000 rupees.
So Tehri-Garhwal's story highlights a different factor.
It really does. It shows that where internal stability collapsed, where local governance couldn't cope, central intervention became almost inevitable and quick.
The state's own viability was key.
Critically important. If the local administration couldn't maintain order or govern effectively, it created a vacuum the central government felt it had to fill. Not just for territory, but arguably for the stability and welfare of the people living there.
So interesting contrast. In Rampur, strong leadership facilitated a managed transition. In Tehri-Garhwal, internal weakness kind of expedited a takeover.
Well put. It really shows the flexibility needed in the integration strategy. The new Indian government couldn't really afford prolonged chaos, especially in sensitive areas. So the approach had to adapt, whether a state was coming willingly and stably or, teetering on the edge of crisis.
Okay, that brings us to our third case, Banaras.
Yeah.
This one seems unique again because of its deep history and, crucially, its religious significance.
Yes, Banaras or Kashi, immensely important spiritually.
And that meant its merger wasn't straightforward. The sources talk about several long and tedious discussions with the Maharaja.
Suggests a more complex negotiation.
Definitely not as quick as the others. The main sticking points were his unique position. The role of the Maharaja of Benares carries a lot of traditional weight, and the state's huge religious significance.
And there was another factor, too, wasn't there, about his succession?
Yes, that he was an adopted heir, which, within Hindu tradition and the context of Kashi, added another layer of complexity regarding his ceremonial role and legitimacy.
It's a lot to navigate.
A lot. But eventually he agreed to the merger. However, it came with very specific safeguards. These were put in place explicitly to preserve his position in respect of religious ceremonies connected with Kashi.
So protecting his ceremonial functions.
Exactly. Recognizing his unique cultural role was clearly paramount. This agreement took much longer. He signed on September 5th, 1948.
Months after Rampur and Tehri-Garhwal.
And his privy purse was the lowest of the three, 2,080,000 rupees.
What's really fascinating about Banaras is how the integration process explicitly acknowledged intangible assets, meaning cultural and religious roles were treated as seriously as, say, territory or finances. It shows a deeper understanding of identity, right? That these things needed careful handling, protection.
So the government recognized they couldn't just absorb the place administratively.
Oh, precisely. Especially not for Kashi. They understood that the cultural fabric was essential. It demonstrates a really nuanced appreciation for history, for tradition, even while building a modern state. They had to ensure the ruler's profound role was respected.
It suggests they knew that simply taking over land wasn't enough for real integration. You had to bring the culture, the spiritual identity along too.
Absolutely. It's a core principle, really. For unity to stick, it can't just be political lines on a map. It has to respect, even encompass, the diverse cultural and religious identities that make up the nation, avoiding alienation, ensuring buy-in, especially crucial for Banaras.
Such an incredible contrast between these three paths to accession. So looking across them, what's the takeaway? We see a kind of common framework, yes.
Definitely. The sources confirm the merger agreements themselves. For Rampur, Banaras, Tehri-Garhwal, they generally followed a standard model, similar to ones used successfully elsewhere, like with the Orissa and Chhattisgarh states.
But within that standard model, wow, a lot of variation.
Huge flexibility.
Look at the privy purses again. Rampur at 7,000, Tehri-Garhwal 3,000, Banaras 2,080,000. Clearly reflecting different state sizes, economies, maybe negotiation leverage too.
And the timing tells a story in itself.
Right. Rampur goes first, May 15th. Tehri-Garhwal just days later, May 18th, likely due to that instability. But Banaras, with all its complexities,
takes until September 5th, months later.
It really puts the diplomatic effort into perspective.
It does. From that wider historical view, it just highlights the immense skill, the negotiation, the flexibility that was needed for nation building on this scale.
It wasn't just imposing terms.
Not at all. It was about acknowledging unique histories, specific needs, sometimes carving out special provisions like for Banaras, all while aiming for that unified future. The lesson seems to be balancing standardization with bespoke solutions. You have to persuade, accommodate, build a shared identity, not just force pieces together.
So for the new Indian government, it was this constant tightrope walk, building a cohesive nation while respecting all these incredibly diverse local identities and histories.
Exactly that. A masterclass, in many ways, in pragmatic nation building. They avoided a rigid top-down approach and instead were flexible, responsive. And that's a lesson that, frankly, still resonates today, far beyond India in 1948.
What an incredible journey today, looking at these three really distinct paths. Rampur, Tehri-Garhwal, and Banaras.
Really illuminating case studies.
We saw Rampur's proactive leadership, Tehri-Garhwal's internal struggle speeding things up, and Banaras needing those delicate, culturally sensitive negotiations. These are just minor details. They're essential threads in understanding how modern India was actually formed.
That blend of standard models and very specific tailored deals.
Exactly.
And these moments really do offer deep insights into political and cultural integration, don't they? They show us that successful unification isn't just about drawing borders. It's about understanding and engaging with the history, the society, the culture of diverse groups.
Finding common ground, but also making space.
Making space for unique traditions, unique concerns. That's how you build genuine unity, not just administrative unity.
So, as you, our listener, think about these stories, what does this deep dive suggest about the challenges of forging unity from diversity, even now in our world?
Yeah.
What really stands out to you, is it the administrative puzzle, the cultural tightrope, the political maneuvering? Think about that. How might these lessons from post-partition India echo in the global challenges we see today, where bringing diverse peoples together remains such a vital and often difficult task?